Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Perkins, a board certified OBGYN, and today we're talking about, is it healthy to lose weight during pregnancy? In this episode, I call it, we're talking about losing weight in pregnancy. And this is a very, very touchy topic because I'm sure you've seen on social media all those exercise gurus who are pregnant and doing it all, and you're wondering, is that okay? Or maybe you're on a weight loss journey and you're wondering, may I continue this because I'm now pregnant? Or is this going to affect my baby? So we're going to talk about all of that today. We'll start by talking about weight management in pregnancy and what your goals are in general. We'll explore some of the causes of weight loss in pregnancy because it's not necessarily always what you think. I'll also just review some of the risks to your pregnancy if you are losing weight or not gaining enough weight during pregnancy. And we'll finish off by talking about your target weight gain or goals and those that are recommended during pregnancy. So come on in. To start off today, I do want to talk about some of, or at least one very common myth that I hear about as an OBGYN all the time. And this one kind of like irks me a little bit because the myth is when you're pregnant, you're eating for two. Oh my goodness, you're not eating for two. And if there is something that I can change globally is this concept of eating for two. We are not. Yes, you are growing a human being. Yes, your body expends like a ton of energy in this process of creating life. It is a beautiful thing, but we're not eating for two. Eating for two gives the impression that we're having twice as many meals, twice as many calories, and that we need to really increase the amount of foods that we're eating constantly because we're supporting this growing pregnancy. It is not a thing, and it's not true. Believe it or not, your body only needs an additional 200 calories per day. And this is during your first trimester, okay? And that increases slightly throughout the trimesters. But to start off, 200 calories is really not that much. So when we're thinking about the calories of an apple, that's like 100 maybe, all right? So if you're thinking about having an extra apple and maybe like 3 crackers, okay, per day, that really covers the additional calories your body needs as you're creating life. All right, that's not the same as eating for two. And so what I see as an OBGYN is that we have people eating so much more that you end up gaining so much more weight during pregnancy. And believe it or not, this is weight that oftentimes will be difficult to come off after you deliver. So we want to be mindful of that. So we've now canceled that thought. Okay, we're not eating for two. We're eating for like 1.05, okay? Like just a smidge more of extra calories. And since I mentioned how many extra calories you need in the first trimester, we can increase that by about 100 calories each trimester. So in your second trimester, you're taking in an extra 300 to 350 calories per day. And then in your third trimester, we're going up to about maybe closer to 400, okay? So not a ton, but either way, if you do gain some more weight than you plan or outside of the goals, it's okay, all right? We want a healthy mom and a healthy baby. And if you don't gain as much weight in your first trimester, second or third, that is okay as well. Let's talk about that because I know it's on your mind and you really want to know what the recommendations are. A lot of weight management during pregnancy depends on what your BMI was prior to starting the pregnancy. In general, your body mass index is your BMI. It gives you an idea of what your weight is to your height and whether or not that's in a normal range. In general, somewhere between 18 and 25 of a BMI range is considered to be normal. If you're underweight, your BMI would be under 18. If you're overweight, your BMI is greater than 25. You're considered to be obese if your BMI hits 30 or above. Now, some guidelines have like super obesity and things like that, and that's not necessarily super important in our conversation today, but there are ranges, and Depending on where you start will kind of give you an idea of how much weight you should or you're expected to gain during pregnancy. Essentially, if you are underweight or if your BMI is closer to the lower end of normal, we expect for you to have more weight gain during pregnancy. And if you're overweight or obese, we recommend less weight gain during pregnancy. A part of that reason is that your storage of energy internally is higher if you're obese or if you have more fat stores. If you're underweight, you don't have a lot of reserves. You don't have a lot of extra energy hanging around stored inside. And so we want you to gain more weight to support you during your pregnancy. Now, since we're talking about weight loss during pregnancy, note that there isn't any real true guidelines as far as losing weight during pregnancy. In general, we don't recommend it, but we also expect that during your first trimester, it is extremely common that people lose a lot of weight. A part of that is because we have morning sickness and nausea, and it's difficult to eat and hold things down, and we have aversions to 1,000 things, and it's kind of hard to find your place. You're fatigued and tired. You're like, should I eat? Should I not eat? And so it is a saga that continues for a long time, and it's difficult for every single pregnancy and changes each time. It's very common because of all of these changes in early pregnancy that a lot of people lose weight. Now, this does not mean that you'll have difficulty gaining weight your entire pregnancy. It actually isn't. A majority of people will overcome that initial morning sickness phase, and then you start eating and feeling normal again. And oftentimes that will go on for the rest of the pregnancy. A very, very small amount of people will have something called hyperemesis gravidarum, and this is a very extreme form of morning sickness. We'll say a lot of nausea and vomiting during pregnancy. You're unable to keep anything down, and so sometimes this requires being hospitalized so that we can treat you and help you to kind of balance your body again and be able to tolerate foods. But that's an extreme, okay? But it does happen, and in these cases, people will lose weight and have difficulty gaining weight throughout the pregnancy. And also, in these conditions, people may also have this continued nausea and vomiting beyond the first trimester. So they may still have issues in their second trimester or their third trimester as far as having difficulty keeping food down. Now, if we're not having this underlying condition and you're now beyond the first trimester and you're in the second trimester and you're still losing weight or not gaining any weight, this sometimes can be concerning for us as providers. And the reason is, if you're not supporting your body nutritionally because you're unable to, we're concerned about malnutrition. Outside of calories, are you having the micronutrients that you need? Are your organs functioning well? Do they have enough support? And oftentimes malnutrition leads to having electrolyte imbalances and other conditions that can affect your heart and your liver and your kidneys and your entire body. And so if you are being malnourished or if your body is malnourished, we may need to have deeper conversations and have other providers involved, such as nutritionists, to kind of help us along, or again, maybe hospitalization so that we can kind of help you with your nutrition concerns. Sometimes weight loss, especially in your second and third trimesters, could be a signal of having other underlying conditions. Believe it or not, there are so many diagnoses that are made during pregnancy because conditions were underlying but not diagnosed before. Sometimes as females, I feel like it is very common to adjust to your new self, right? You have a new symptom, but you kind of ignore it, or you're so busy with your family and kids that you've neglected to actually have your concerns addressed with your doctors. And so when you present in pregnancy, we may now diagnose a new condition that could have led to weight loss, but you had this condition for a while, but we're just diagnosing it now because you're now seeing the doctor because of this current pregnancy. And so I say all of that to say, yes, weight loss could be due to pregnancy-related symptoms, but sometimes it could be a different underlying condition that will present during your pregnancy. And so if you're struggling with losing weight, or you find that you're not gaining enough weight during pregnancy, it is important that you have that conversation with your doctors. Oftentimes we are tracking your weight, but if this is really truly a concern for you, have that conversation, talk about it. Let your doctors know what you're experiencing so that we can meet you where you are and actually do the evaluation and possible treatment if necessary. Now, goals during pregnancy. I already mentioned BMI and the importance of BMI as far as your weight gain. Let's talk a little bit more about what that expectation is, or what it looks like as far as your BMI. If you're underweight, wherein your BMI is initially below 18, we expect, or we recommend, that you gain 25 to 40 pounds during your entire pregnancy. If you have a normal BMI, we recommend weight gain between 25 and 35 pounds during pregnancy. If you're overweight, this is a BMI between 25 and 30, we recommend weight gain of 15 to 25 pounds during pregnancy. If you are obese, that's anything greater than a BMI of 30, we recommend weight gain between 11 and 20 pounds during pregnancy. While we know that not gaining enough weight during pregnancy can impact the pregnancy to some degree, and by pregnancy I'm really referring to the baby. Sometimes babies can be small for a gestational age because they just haven't gained too much. Sometimes we can have preterm labor and delivery, like I mentioned. If babies are too small, that can increase the likelihood of them being admitted to the NICU and needing further support there. And of course, if you are not getting enough nutrients and your baby doesn't get enough nutrients, they may also have like impaired brain development and brain function. And of course, we don't want this. So gaining weight during pregnancy is very important, and we want to support you with that. Now, I also want to mention here before we continue, we don't want to be overly focused on the scale, okay? I know sometimes patients come in and they're just like, I'm the same weight now as I was 4 weeks ago at our last visit, and that is okay. What we want you to focus on is eating consistently and eating well-balanced meals. We want you to be incorporating lots of nutrient-dense foods, okay? You're having your protein, your carbs, and your fats with each of your meals and maintaining that throughout rather than looking at the scale. If you're very active, you could be burning additional calories, like if you're exercising and walking and running on a regular basis. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your baby isn't developing well or that you're not taking in enough calories. It is never a cookie cutter, same outlook for every single person. We need to individualize care. And so again, I encourage you to have conversations with your doctors about the concerns that you may have. Now, I hope this video and everything we talked about today was very helpful. I would love to send you a free gift today, not necessarily for use during your pregnancy and to help you gain weight, but to help you balance your hormones and all the things that are surrounding this. It's actually a copy of my ebook, Hormones Don't Lie, and I'd love to send you a free copy today. To get that, please click the link below this video. I will send it over to you, and I would actually love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts or questions or concerns, or if you would like to share your experience with us, please drop a comment below this video and let's share, let's talk today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening in, and I'll see you next time.